ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mike Larkin, one half of the Steve and Mike Show. www.steveandmikeshow.com is up and running, where you can hear such shows as you're about to hear tonight. This is another edition of On the Mic with Mike, and I am pleased to have on the beautiful, the talented, the lovely, the adorable Miss Gwen Adora. Gwen, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. How are you doing today?
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I am doing great.
Well, first and foremost, I gotta say that's the play on that I do like about your name, because when I look at Adora, I think of adorable and the whole nine there, which you are, and I gotta say you do a lot of great work. So I'm happy to have you on and give you the platform to tell your story.
Thank you. Yeah. When I was choosing my my porn name, I didn't even realize that Adora flowed into like adorable, and I'm like, it actually makes a lot of sense for me now.
Well, there's the thing about it. You know what else it is? You also look at it as it's the way you carry yourself and that your overall character and really what exudes and accentuates you, and I think that does that very well.
Oh, thank you so much.
Hey,
I'm glad it worked.
It does, and that's the thing that sticks. And here, I was actually going to make a reference. I don't know if anybody's going to get this, but as a kid, like, you got to understand, like, growing up around your grandparents and your parents, this is mainly my grandparents, so there was actually, go back to the 40s. I know I'm taking everybody way back here, but Abbott and Costello had their movie, Hold That Ghost, one of the classic of the Bud Abbott and Lou Costello series, right? But when I think of Adora, I almost went to Aurora, because Aurora was a song by the Andrews Sisters in that movie. Aurora comes from Rio de Janeiro, ah ha ha ha, Aurora, for those that remember that. So I kind of like tied in Aurora and Adora there for a second. But yeah, that's some old school for those that are familiar with Abbott and Costello. So anyway, let's get to the start of this. First and foremost, I gotta say, I was putting over your work there, but let's take it back here, Miss Gwen Adora. How did you get involved in the adult industry?
Well, I've been technically in the adult industry, like not porn specifically, but like adult industry, like sex toy, kind of like part of it, that sex toy part of the industry. I've been in for about, I think it's like 3 going on 4 years. So I think, yeah, 3 years, 9 months potentially. And I started with a sex blog. So I have a blog that's under like a different brand name. And people can search it up. Like, I don't mind people like looking at my different brands, I guess, but it's redhotsues.com. And I started blogging about my sex life and blogging about sex toy reviews because I wanted free sex toys. So that kind of like brought me into the sex positive space in the adult industry in general. And through Twitter and whatnot, I connected with like a bunch of people who were like cam girls and sex workers and clip makers. And eventually, like, I had people who would read my blog and be like, oh, like, I think, like, the stories that you're telling are hot, and, like, your advice is hot, and you're hot, so, like, I want to buy content from you. So eventually, I had done, like, a couple, like, independent Skype shows here and there with some people. And then I was traveling in the summer, and I didn't have, like, I was doing my blog, like, as, like, to support myself while I was traveling. And I decided that I wanted to start a Patreon for my nudes, because I had met a couple of bloggers who were also doing like Patreon and selling nudes and that kind of stuff, as well as their podcast that they had. So I was like, oh, I could be making more money by being more naked, I guess, because I was pretty naked. So I started there, and then eventually that was like under my like that branding for the blog that I started that Patreon under. But then I guess it was the start of 2018, it was January 2018, I decided earlier, but January 2018 was the time that like I started like my Gwen Adora brand and like started my ManyVids and actually started like kind of putting time and effort into like having like a sexy porn career. So yeah, I've been in here for a while, and I know a lot of different facets of the industry.
I have to say this because I think what's cool about you is, like, you talk about the blogging stuff, and, you know, you would give, like, you know, sex advice, or you would talk about, like, your sex life and your sexual experience, and obviously we're going to get into the sex toys and how that plays a role into your career, but I just got to say, I think that's cool because you get to help people, you know, spice things up in the bedroom, or, you know, different, you know, get people imagination, you know, having the imagination and pretty much fantasizing and kind of incorporating that into real life, what they can use to, you know, help increase their sexual appetites, you know, their sexual overall, you know, what they're into. I think that's kind of cool, and I think that's a great aspect to look at it from.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, sex positivity was kind of like the concept in general, just being like open and honest and vulnerable and talking about sex in a way that a lot of people weren't, like maybe like 2 or 3 years ago when I first started doing it. Not a lot of people were out there. Like there was a good chunk of people, but like not as much as today, where people are like openly talking about like the intricacies of sex, and not even just like the sexy aspects of it and like the orgasms and the coming, but like the communication issues and like how people navigate. Like something that I talked about a lot on my blog was how navigating sexual, like casual sex relationships with people that you're like friends with benefits with or you're just fuck buddies with, and navigating those communication issues, and kind of like what something I really stand for is just kind of knowing your worth in terms of like casual partners. So I kind of wanted to like bring that to people and like have conversations about kind of more like the meatier subjects of sex, like instead of just like, oh yeah, it's fun and it feels good, but it's like, no, let's talk about like, yeah, the deeper shit.
And I can appreciate that because I'll be honest with you, and I'll take it back to the 80s here to quote the late, great George Michael, sex is natural, sex is good, not everybody does it, but everybody should. I want your sex, hello, take it back to 1987 there. But what I appreciate about what you're saying is, like, it's going on besides, like you mentioned, oh, it feels good, you know, it's wonderful. It's a beautiful thing between two human beings that really, encompasses a relationship, but it's just like, look, I'm more into this. Like, for afterwards, you can have the cuddling and just being next to that partner, being next to someone that you could say, you know what, this is someone who I enjoy and I love waking up to and look in their eyes each and every morning. And I think you do a lot of that with how you write and how you give the advice.
Yeah, thank you. I try.
I mean, well, you want to take it on a deeper meaning. I'm like, that's what a lot of people don't realize is it's not just like the physical aspect of, actually having sex. There's more that goes into it. So I can actually appreciate that. It actually gives people a different way of thinking. And I think you're opening up minds and you're broadening horizons, if I'm fair in my assessment there.
Thank you. Yeah, I just try to make those conversations more accessible to people. So a lot of people have issues. I know it's like weird because it's like we're in a very sexualized society, especially with porn and whatnot. But a lot of people are afraid to have those conversations about, I guess the nitty gritty details.
Well, I gotta say, what's interesting about you is, and I know you also talked about for your free sex toys and all the sex toy stuff, but a lot of your scenes, I mean, you do a lot of scenes with sex toys and stuff, which I think is cool because, again, what's great about people and great about guys and gals is, we're into different stuff. We all have our different preferences and stuff, and you make a lot of great videos that involve sex toys, and also it encompasses you for the beautiful person that you are. So I think for what you're doing from that standpoint, I think you're opening up minds, and, you're also, opening up new horizons for people that like those particular scenes.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, I've a gigantic collection of sex toys that I've acquired through reviewing them. So, and I still can get like more when I need to get more. So it's kind of like I have this arsenal of tools. How can I utilize this to make some sexy content?
Well, I gotta say with you, like, I've seen a lot of your stuff. For instance, I've seen, like, you've done like, jerk-off instructional videos. I've seen you, again, incorporate that. And I was telling you this beforehand, being the pop culture nerd, and growing up watching the Magic School Bus, I love the Miss Frizzle scene that you did. I thought that really encompassed you well, and we got to see a lot of different light in that, too.
Thank you so much. That was so fun to film. I feel like you're someone who like likes to. You have a kind of nostalgia vibe to you. I remember when I was listening to your Annabelle podcast, and then this one today too. You like referencing nostalgia type like feelings. Mm-hmm. So I think with porn, you can I kind of like doing that too. Like Miss Frizzle, like that's like such a personal and like character to a lot of people. It's like, oh, when you see her, you're like, oh, like that like hits like a certain like nostalgia point in your brain. So it's kind of fun to like porn her up and like kind of like continue the fantasy where people didn't think they wanted it to go. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I mean, if I wanted to make a joke, I mean, I'll be honest with you, as someone who has watched adult films in his time, I'm a guy, it's what we do, but, I'm going to say this, I'm not, like, one of these, like, overly obsessed with porn. I enjoy my porn, but it's just, like, I'm not, like, to that level, and I can say that, but what's interesting is, like, growing through the years, like, All right, and we'll talk about this because as a teen and as like youngins, we experience adult movies or adult magazines, right? So tell me if you feel me on this. So the first ever time that I actually saw a film was actually, I don't even know if they even still have a website now. It was called girlshuntinggirls.com, and I was like 13 when I saw this, and I'm like, this is like the height of like puberty, getting right in there, like your early teens here, Gwen. So I'm just like, what is this? And I'm just like, okay, so for those that don't remember Girls Hunting Girls, and even if they know who are listening, the site was just, it was like they're in the van, right? And they pick up like a girl who's on the corner, and there would be like threesome scenes or one-on-one scenes, and I'm just like, huh. So this was my first introduction into the adult and looking at porn as a kid, just 13-year-old, again, out of your mind, just, you're seeing this stuff, but... So, and then
just, like, this makes my body feel things. Ah.
There you go. So, I mean, and then you get older, and then you see all these websites, and now we have the accessible. And we're going to get to Pornhub in a second here. You like your Pornhubs, your X-Hamsters, your X-Videos, and all these websites that have these free, like content, and you get to see all these full films. And you got websites like yourselves and more where you get to see, and you get to pay for the great, scenes that you do. So, I mean, it's just to see the evolution of how the adult industry has come from me when I was like 13 in 2005, and here we are in 2019, and even going back to like the 80s and 90s when the 80s was defined as the golden age of porn, and get to see people in the 80s and the 90s. I mean, just the evolution of porn is absolutely, it's really just amazing to watch, and it really applies to anything in life. But yeah, the evolution of the history of the adult industry.
Yeah, it's really interesting how the internet really influenced kind of that change as well, because like now it's especially with camming and such, like that's very much kind of influenced the push in how like porn is consumed and how sexual content is consumed. And like clip sites like ManyVids, or like Model Hub or Amateur Porn or I Want Clips, like I feel like those have really really done like a good, like changed the game for a lot of like independent porn. Like, I mean, it's like allowed us to be independent porn creators instead of just like having to like do pro scenes with a company or like be contracted to a company. So it's cool that kind of like carved out like a new like group of careers for the indie porn stars.
It is, and we were talking about, just to go back to your films for a second, like we were talking about like jerk off instructionals, like you're doing a lot of films with toys, and we're talking about like just, I mean, I've seen a lot of stuff. I think there's one scene with you on like a balcony. I think there was one that included like Forever 21 in the change room. Like you do a lot you do a lot of interesting films that are very unique and diverse, and I've always appreciated that about you because, like, again, like with how you look, and we're going to talk about BBWs and the awards and stuff, but I got to say, with the way that you look, and I'm going to tell you right now with the utmost sincerity and respect, you're a beautiful woman. I think, and I truly mean that. I think you're a beautiful woman. You do your thing, and we get to see a lot of different, content from you, and I like the variety that you do. I always use that word a lot, variety, so I appreciate the variety that you bring.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, I try to have something for everyone, but also it's kind of like for me experimenting with what my audience wants to see, and like kind of like almost like, especially when I first started out, obviously I didn't have like an audience, so like I had to kind of like try things out and see kind of what stuck and what people were interested in seeing from me. And that kind of helped me shape my brand into what it is now. Like, I feel like up until like maybe like the past like half a year, I didn't really have a solid grasp on like my shit. Like, if that makes sense. Like, I was like, I'm putting out stuff that I'm proud of, but like, what is like the core of my content? And I feel like I've kind of like figured that out now, which is good.
And I also appreciate about you too is you do a lot of the role play films, that like the POV, the point of view types, and I always appreciate.
Oh yeah, all my stuff is that now.
And that's the thing. Like I'll be honest with you, and I told you about like Girls Hunting Girls. I was 13, but I cannot remember for the life of me who I first saw do the role play films. But I just remember I'm like, okay, like this is different. Like I said, it's the variety factor. And I just remember I've seen a lot of role play films, and I do enjoy what you do as far as the role playing stuff. I think that's cool, and I think that's another great aspect of what makes you for what you do with your adult career.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I feel like that's something that I've definitely know is like part of like my brand now. I do like a lot of POV role play. Jerk off instructions is a big one for me now. But yeah, majority of the content I put out is role play. And it's funny because I remember like sitting down and filming like my first like jerk off instruction like POV roleplay video, and how nervous I was to like just like speak to a camera by myself instead of like just like like jerk off or whatever. So like I remember like sitting down and being like, I felt so weird about just talking to by myself in my room, talking dirty or whatever. Which, like, I'm very experienced in dirty talking, but, like, when you're doing it in a way that you're like, oh, I don't really feel, like, incredibly sexual right now, and I don't know what to say, and, like, where's this going, and what's the thing. But now I'm, like, because I've just practiced so much, and that's a tip to anyone who wants to, like, learn how to dirty talk well, is just practice. And, like, if you say something that sounds silly, then it's okay, and, like, you can just, like, move on from it, and sometimes it works. So, like, yeah, now I just sit down, and it's all improv. Like, all my videos are improv, and I just kind of, like, spit out lines, and if there's something that I say that's, like, really not good, then I just, like, take it out, or sometimes I keep it in if it's funny, so, yeah.
Well, I gotta say, you do your best to entertain, and here's the thing, and I'm gonna group you both in now, because you, and I told her this, I'm gonna tell you this, Miss Gwen Adora, you and Annabelle Rogers have a great chemistry and work in a great dynamic, and you two work very well together. She does great role play films, and I gotta say, I love each and every time you two work together, because you're both beautiful ladies, and I think you both, again, work well together, and it makes for great scenes.
Yes, yeah, I love working with Annabelle. She's such a treasure, and we're going to be working together soon, so I'm very excited.
I look forward to more of those. Let me tell you something about Annabelle Rogers. I think you two also, I'm going to use this as well, I think you two have great intellect about what you want to do for your viewers and stuff, and I think both of you are incredibly smart and intelligent ladies, and you guys get that great aspect about the adult industry, so that I have to commend you both to as well, to my friends here, Miss Annabelle Rogers and Gwen Adora. I think you guys do. Again, I love it.
Thank you. Yeah, Annabelle's, like, such an inspiration to me. Like, anything she puts out, I'm just, like, amazed consistently with, especially in her work ethic and just, like, her in general. She's so inspiring.
I gotta tell you another one that I gotta mention. I've seen you do a lot of live videos with her on Instagram, and you work with her a lot. I gotta talk about Jessica Starling for a second, because another beauty as well. And you two, again, the dynamic, and you two have great chemistry together.
Thank you. Yeah, we just collaborated for the first time. It was, like, I guess at the end of last month, and we're starting to put out all our videos. I think we made, like, 17 videos over, like, 3 days of working together. We got, like, a little Airbnb together and made a bunch of content. So yeah, there's definitely more on the horizon coming out from her and I. The one that we put out, the last one I put out with her was an impregnation role play threesome, where, like, she's the sister and I'm the mother, and we have to, like, I tell my kids, the quote unquote kids, that they have to have sex with each other if they want to have sex, because we want to keep things in the family. And then there's an impregnation aspect too, and it was, like, such a fun video to film, and I love, like, impregnation is, like, one of my, like, core fetishes that I do in my videos, and it was so fun to film with someone else to get to do that, and then it sold really well too, so, like, I'm pretty proud of it.
I was gonna say, I'm actually glad that you segued that, because I've seen a lot of those too. I'm like, okay, the impregnation feel and the story and keeping it all in the family. I'm like, again, very unique, very entertaining, and I think each and every one of those, like you mentioned, sold well. As someone who saw it, I gotta say, it really came out well, and just like I said, that's another one of yours. Like, the impregnations, like, is that also kind of like synonymous now with your brand, like role play impregnation? It all kind of ties in and correlates, right?
Yeah, for sure. It's like, I would say, one of the core things that, like, I'm known for, and it's great. I love it personally. Like, it's a personal, like, fetish of mine. So I'm like, yes, this is great. Like, I can just, like, tell people to, like, come in my uterus or whatever. It's like, it's so much fun. Yeah, it's sexy, and yeah, it's one of my best sellers, and, like, kind of, like, the one thing that, like, I felt like really popped off for me, because, like, ManyVids was the clip site that I'm, like, mainly on, and I did a custom video. It started with a custom video it was almost around this time last year, I guess, like maybe like October, November. And the video is called Practice Makes Pregnant, and it's about like me as the woman, and I'm, like, calling up the viewer, who is my best friend's boyfriend, and I'm booty calling him, basically, and I'm like, you need to come over. And then eventually I'm like, oh, we should just take the condom off. It's okay. Like, and then I'm like, oh, like, no, I'm like, and it turns into, like, a blackmail fantasy. And I got kind of, like, a little Donnie. And I'm like, you need, like, if you come in me, like, you have to break up with her and that kind of stuff. So that one was, like, it popped off on ManyVids, like, one of my highest selling video. And then the same person who commissioned that video from me also commissioned 5 others, so it's, like, a series, the Practice Makes Pregnant series, and they're all, like, my bestsellers, and they're so fun.
Whew. Well, I gotta say this as well. Speaking of like a seller that really is for me, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I voted for you. We gotta talk about how does it feel? You're being nominated for the Pornhub Awards, favorite BBW model. I mean, I'll be honest. Like I said, I voted for you. I hope you win. I think that's awesome. How does it feel to be nominated?
Oh, it's incredible for sure. Because like Pornhub is seen like to like mainstream people and like or like non-sex worker people. Pornhub is seen as like the end all be all of like porn. Like it's like synonymous with porn itself almost. Which like I mean they did a good job I guess at branding it that way. It's like when I tell like my friends that, or if I tell like like people can understand that more than they can understand like like let's say like the BBW Awards specifically, like which is an award show, or like the many bits like award contest. Like they don't understand that as much as they would understand like a Pornhub award. So I kind of feel like it has more like mainstream validation, um, which is interesting. But yeah, it's like it's an honor because like the people in my category, I'm just happy to be here, like because it's like I'm against like Sophia Rose and Annabelle and Destiny. So it's like all these like big names and like people who like I like don't even know that well, but like are like some of like the top tier BBW like creators who've been around for a long time who've got really solid fan bases. So I'm just happy I'm just happy to be here. And I am going to the awards. But I was going before I knew I was nominated, so like I'm not going there with the like expectation to win. It would be cool if I did, and it would be great. So vote for me if you can. But I'm just happy to be there. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna say there's a lot of great talents, but I'll be honest with you. For you, I hope you win. I can tell you're happy to be on. I can tell you're very enthusiastic for your sake. I'm gonna tell you straight up. I hope you win.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
That.
No problem. I have to say, and here's another. You're like the segue queen today because I was going to mention. I mean, when you look in the adult industry, you look at all these award shows. I mean, you look at the expos. You look at AVN. You look at the adult entertainment expos. You look at BBW awards, which I got to say, I believe you were at the BBW awards, right? I was going to ask, can you tell us about your experience being at the BBW awards?
Yes. Yeah. I went. Last year. And it was okay. I think the people who are producing it like they work really hard on it. But it was kind of like a little, in my opinion. I don't want to like I'm not hating on it for sure, but it was just a little hectic. I think it's two ladies who are running it, and I think like they definitely have like their work cut out for them, and it's like such a big hassle to like pull it off. I had an okay time. There was a couple like creepy men who approached me and were trying to like get me to shoot with them, which I wasn't really not into because I was like, I have like literally no content with dudes, so almost. So I'm like, I don't know. Just some people kind of like skeeved me out, and I was like, I think it's time to go home. But it was like a lovely, like the people who won were so deserving of the awards, and like the awards itself was like really nice, and it was at like a cool strip club, so yeah.
Well, I gotta say this about you as well because, all right, let me just talk about BBW for a second. As you mentioned that term, let me tell you something. All right, I'm gonna take you back to young Mike Larkin here for a second. Like, folks, I'm 20.
Okay.
I'm 27 now, and this is a nice story. I think you'll like what I'm gonna have to say. This is not trying to be like skeevy men, but no, listen to what I have to say, people, before you go, oh, here we go. No, here we go. So, what's interesting about it is I think me being the guy that I am, and I truly mean this, and I'll start this off. My mother and my grandmother, God rest her soul, because she actually passed away 2 years ago today. Today is the 2-year anniversary of her passing. They are probably two of the biggest influences on me in my life, all right? Because let me tell you something. I have a love and I have appreciation for women, and I always tell people I want to treat women the way that my mother and my grandmother treated me. I don't care, BBW, skinny, what have you. I don't care your shape, your size, what your race is. It doesn't matter to me. I've always said that women are the three key elements of beauty, strength, and dominance, and that's what helps exude and accentuate that. And I'm going to include you in this, Gwen, because I wanted to tell you this as well. So I got to say, from that aspect, I've always appreciated women for that. That's part A of that. But first and foremost, I just want to let you know that as well.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I think that's like a great way to look at it, and I think all men should be conditioned to believe that.
Okay. And then here's part B of this, and I'm just going to tell you something about BBW. And a lot of my friends will say this about me because they know me. I'm from Long Island, New York. I live in the South now. I'm in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. But my people that know me, my family knows me. Here's the thing. When I was a young man, in my teens and just working, doing my thing at this marketing place I used to work at, a market research company, right? I'll be honest with you. A lot of girls that were attracted to me, for my personality, for me as a whole, for who I am, were a lot of BBWs. And let me tell you something. They were some beautiful BBWs. So I've always had appreciation for the BBWs. So that the BBWs always be close to my heart. So that's why I always...
That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, just that's the thing, and that's why I say I always I always appreciate that. I also say this as well. I want to tell me if you like this. So, okay, with you ladies, I always say it's the voluptuosity factor about you ladies that really helps. You know, besides just your overall look, I think it's the voluptuosity factor. Is that a nice way of putting it? You think that's a great asset to look at it like?
I guess so. Voluptuosity factor. I guess, yeah. If you're speaking to, I guess, just like general like curves and bigness, and yeah, I think so.
Okay,
that's a great way to put it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think that's like when you talk about curves, and I mean, we could start singing, "Oh, she's a brick house," take it back to the Commodores, Mighty just letting it all hang out. Hello, but nah, I mean, I look at it like it's the curves, it's the voluptuosity factor. It's not, it's the physical aspect, but it's also about what the person goes. I always talk about mind, body, and soul, so that's why I always look at it like that. But yeah, I've always liked that term, voluptuosity factor, curves, the whole nine. Like I said, you got a winning hand. I'm not saying you're a brick house here, Gwen, but I gotta say you got a winning hand. But you're awesome.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Another thing I wanted to mention here that I have in my notes that I wanted to discuss with you is we talked a lot about your scenes, but I noticed you also do a lot of the shower scenes as well. So we get to see a lot of you in the shower. We get to see a lot of cool stuff like that from the POV standpoint. So I always appreciated the elements that you give, whether we talked about fitting rooms, we've talked about balconies, we've talked about as you frizzle, but the just the aspect of you just in the shower, just taking a bath, doing what you do just to get clean, and I think that also attracts a lot as well, because I've seen a lot of those films of you in the shower.
Yeah, I guess I do have a lot now that I think about it, but I think there's shower vids are so they're personal and intimate, which is nice, and people looking at you taking a shower. It's a sexy intimate thing, especially if you can imagine you someone in the shower with. That's for me that's super hot, having a shower with is really sexy, and ooh, we're cleaning each other, there's bubbles or whatever, but also it's for me I maximize I guess my time. So I live with 2 housemates, so I film almost everything in my room, so if I'm at a location, I try to take the most advantage I can as possible, and a lot of locations I go to have really nice showers, so I'm oh, this shower is beautiful, I should probably film in here, so it's that's how I end up with shower videos.
Well, okay, and I don't mean to laugh, but first and foremost, that's kind of funny, and that's actually very cool. But what I like about how you said that is and I appreciate the work. A lot of people don't realize the work that goes into scenes, and the filming and the aspect to get that right shot. And I think each and every one of your scenes, you get that right shot, and you entertain, and you do your best with the overall product that you put out. But I have to say, what I like about the shower too, it's the intimate feeling of showering, getting clean, and I'll be honest with you. I think I told you I worked in market research, right? If I was to give a survey right now, I would probably say that a lot of guys and gals, probably one of their favorite places to have sexual intercourse would probably be in the shower. I think that's a top spot for sexual appeal, for sexual overall delight. So I think you would capture that a lot in your scenes with those shower scenes.
Yeah. Well, thanks. Yeah, it's just nice because it's sometimes it a lot of showers it just shows off your body, and it's really body focused, and a lot of those times I don't really have to do role play, which I love doing role play, don't get me wrong, but sometimes it's if I've already done a bunch of talking today and I need to film one more video, it's oh, I can just relax in the shower, and it's multitasking because oh, I get myself clean and I film a video. So it's perfect.
I like your style. It's hey, I look hot, but guess what? I'm also scrubbing, dub-dubbing, and getting clean right now. So hey, it's a win-win.
Exactly.
It's a win-win. Exactly.
Yeah. Actually, I have a couple. I have one shower scene with Jessica Starling that is going to be going up on my OnlyFans soon. So.
Well, I cannot wait to see what you got going forward with Jessica, with Annabelle. And I'm going to say this to you right now. I have a couple final things I want to point out with you. But I got to say, you've been an absolute delight and a pleasure to be speaking with today. So I'm going to say the overture is here. Anytime you want to come on this show, you're more than welcome to. I'm happy to give you the platform.
Aw, thank you so much. You're a lovely interviewer.
Oh, thank you. Well, here's the thing, and you know what it is too. Let me tell you something. I bring a lot of variety with these interviews. Like whether I'm interviewing people in the wrestling world, the music world, what have you. I'll be honest. Two of my most serious shows have been about one of my friends, Crystal, whose son has Chiari malformation. I've done one about a girl who passed away, actually, who I went to school with, who unfortunately passed away at 17. You know, with meningeal disease. So it's always a pleasure to do these type of things. So I love providing a variety. So like I said, I got to thank you for all you do. So before we even get on out of here, I just want to say this to you, Gwen Adora. Hello. All right, let's try to get Gwen back on the line here, folks. Hello. Hello. Hello, Gwen. Nope. We'll try to get her back on the line. But I was just saying, like, what I love doing with this show is we provide a lot of, variety with these interviews. And whether I'm interviewing people in the adult... There we go. Hello?
Hey.
No problem. You're back. So what I was doing there before, unfortunately, we got cut out, I was just stalling for a second. What I wanted to say to you is I'm glad that I got you back because whether I'm doing a variety of shows, and two of my shows have been serious. Like I've had one with my friend Crystal, whose son had Chiari malformation. My friend's mom, her name is Patty. Kim passed away. One of our graduates, her name is Kim Coffey, passed away from meningeal disease a couple days before her prom at 17. So what I like to do with the show is provide a variety. So whether I'm interviewing people in the adult industry, wrestling, music, what have you, it's always a pleasure. So for you, I got to say, it's always a pleasure.
Aw, thank you. It's been a pleasure to be on.
No problem. But yeah, I think with you, and I got to say this to you, and I'm going to mean this with the utmost respect before I give you the forum to promote yourself. I truly wish you nothing but the best and continued success and love and happiness going forward because you're doing a lot of great work and it shows, and you're just going to continue to shine.
Aw, thank you so much. I wish the same to you.
You're very welcome and much appreciated. So, for the minor glitch, and which, like I said, it was totally fine. I just stalled before you came back. It happens. That's what happens with Skype people. Unfortunately, things happen. But we are here. We are back. We are here. And it's the here and now. Miss Gwen Adora, ladies first, please promote your Twitter, Instagram, if you have a Facebook page, YouTube, what have you, where people can, your OnlyFans as well, where many vids, where people can find you, and the links will be in the description below this audio. Go right ahead. The floor is yours.
Yeah, sure. If you would like to hear me talk about things, I guess Twitter is the best place for like keeping up with my promotions, hearing my, I don't know, funny thoughts, my rant tweets. I'm at Gwen Adora on Twitter. I'm at Gwen Adora XO on Snapchat and on Instagram. My ManyVids, which is my main clip site, is gwenadora.manyvids.com. It's all linked in on my Twitter, so you can find it through there. My OnlyFans, which is I put out daily content. It's a monthly subscription service for super cheap. It's onlyfans.com/gwenadora. And you can also vote for me in the Pornhub Awards if you think I'm cute. I am nominated for a fake BBW model. And you can go to vote.gwenadora.com to vote for me.
So here's what I'm even going to do more. I'm going to put the link for the Pornhub Awards so people can vote for the favorite BBW model. Her name is Gwen Adora. Get on the vote, people. Vote, vote, vote.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
So, what else did I mention? Okay, so we got, did you mention Instagram as well, or did I just, I'm sorry.
I did.
Cool.
Yeah.
My apologies. I had a minor brain fart,
Okay.
but the Instagram.
I was just like on a, I said a lot of things, so it's okay.
All right, but the Twitter, the Instagram, the Pornhub Award, where you can vote for her, and a lot will be in the description below this. And I actually want to say this to you. Two final things. Number one, as someone who's been in the adult industry doing her thing, what advice would you give to any guy, or in your instance, any gal that wants to pursue a career in the adult industry? Like, what advice would you give to do what you're doing as only as you can do, Ms. Gwen Adora? What advice would you give them?
Do your market research. Before I started selling clips, I researched for a very long time on ways just to learn first of all about like the culture. Twitter is a great place to do that if you have like a Twitter account, just to kind of like lurk up, like follow a bunch of sex workers and people who are doing this and kind of see how they market themselves, how they like make their thumbnails, just kind of be a sponge and consume everything that you can. Buy people's porn videos to see how they do them. You could also watch them for free on Pornhub. I would highly recommend just looking up the verified users though for that. Yeah, research, and then you'll kind of like find a way to how to brand yourself. Branding is so important. Um, yeah, to find a good porn name, research, brand yourself. Yeah, that's my advice.
All right, and I guess also as well, please, any last words, any final words that you have for your fans that you've been supporting you since day one?
I love my fans so much. They truly get me, and I I couldn't be happier making what I make for them. So I love y'all.
So for Miss Gwen Adora, my name is Mike Larkin. Also, just wanted to say I love also that you're about positivity modeling, and in the adult industry. I think it's great. So be positive to people, not just with body. Be positive in general. Show some love. Show some light. So I just wanted to say I like your message as well. I just had to put that over too.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're very welcome. So for Miss Gwen Adora, my name is Mike Larkin. This concludes another edition of On the Mic with Mike and Gwen. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Bye, guys.